Hi, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to be talking about how to set and achieve your nutrition goals in 2025. So, a little bit about me. I am a third year nutrition and dietetics student at Loma Linda University, and I have an Instagram, and I would love to specialize in maternal and infant health. So that's kind of where my focus is. And Sabrina, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Sabrina, and I'm also a third year nutrition student currently at Loma Linda. I also have an Instagram page, and it's at Nourished Me. And I think Isabel and I both just love talking about nutrition health in general. We have various interests. I love talking about building balanced plates, while Isabel loves talking about maternal nutrition. But overall, goal setting is just across the board something that is applicable to anyone in any area of health in general, but also nutrition. So that's kind of what we're going to dive in today. Again, thank you for joining us, and we're going to get started. So, first of all, why does nutrition matter? We're going to be talking about goals, specifically nutrition goals and how to build them, because nutrition is a topic that is very important to us. And first of all, why is it important? I think that is very important to realize when we're setting goals is why is having a better diet important for us? First of all, it is essential for energy. Without the proper food and nutrition, we are not able to either provide ourselves with enough energy or can eat in a way that will make us feel like we don't have enough energy. So, eating properly is just important so that we don't have any energy crashes throughout the day, but then also knowing that we have enough to eat to sustain our life, working, working out, just all the things. Number two, it helps prevent disease. I think we all know that what we eat matters in the long term and how we can be susceptible to developing health issues, specifically chronic diseases. And so taking care of our nutrition can help us prevent that. Number three is longevity and quality of life. Like I mentioned, with these chronic diseases and the development of these, we can get symptoms that can affect our quality of life. So by taking care of our nutrition, we're able to prevent these later on in life and just throughout life in general. And then lastly is something that's really important. Um, Eating well can help your mind in so many different ways, clarity, but then also your mental health, how you feel, your mood. If you're gonna have a good day or a bad day, literally what you eat can impact how you feel and if you're gonna have a good day or a bad day. So that's really important.
Mhm. Yeah, so before we get into building goals, let's go over some common mistakes in goal setting that should be avoided. And the first one is over restricting, saying things like, I'll never eat refined sugar ever again. And why it fails is such rigid rules are unsustainable and they often lead to binging or burnout. Another one to avoid is focusing solely on weight loss. And why this is problematic is that it neglects other health markers like our energy levels, our mental health, and nutrient intake. And it often leads to negative thinking towards food, and focusing solely on weight loss isn't usually sustainable in the long term. So, we also want to avoid setting unrealistic expectations, like, I'm going to start eating healthier. This doesn't work because drastic changes can feel overwhelming and they're difficult to maintain long term. And the next one is following unsustainable trends or fad diets is another one to avoid. An example would be following keto diet without understanding your body's needs, juice cleanses, or extreme intermittent fasting. These diet trends can often lead to long-term health conditions, can lead to malnutrition or just other related health issues. So it's better to stick to creating nutrition goals that are sustainable and actually lead to lifestyle and diet changes. And then short-term versus long-term focus. Some good questions to ask is, are your goals sustainable beyond a few weeks? Are they just for the short term or do they support a long-term healthy lifestyle? So these are some good questions to ask yourself and to think about when you're creating goals.
So next, what should you do before starting to write a goal? Having a goal is good and important, but there is actually some pre-thinking before you actually start to set that goal that you need to go through. The biggest one is find your why. If we have a goal that you don't really know why you want to achieve that goal, is kind of sets you up for failure immediately because you're going to immediately be into a couple of weeks of this and be like, well, it doesn't really matter anyways. And when we're specifically talking about health related goals, it is really important to find a reason to want to make a lifestyle change that is not solely based on something that is like either superficial or unsustainable and like in the long run isn't going to really matter that much. Sure, it might be nice to lose some weight to look better, but in the reality is that making a lifestyle change because of that is actually not sustainable. So you need to find your why. Why do you want to start eating healthier? Is it because you want to take better care of your health? You want to be able to feel better, have better energy levels, you want to be able to sleep better, you want to be able to have a better mood. Those are all some really good reasons as to why you should be making a lifestyle change, especially in nutrition. The biggest thing you also need to consider is start with realistic and simple goals. Um, Going back to weight, let's say you want to lose 25 pounds because you're maybe overweight and you just want to take care of your health in the long run. That is a great goal to have, but you cannot expect yourself to lose that much weight within a set amount of time. It is really important to maybe focus on things that you can control in the now, which is, eating healthier and focusing on the small wins as you go. Setting a goal that is super big and unrealistic is just going to set you up for failure again, straight away. Breaking a bigger goal into smaller steps is also a really great way to do it. So find a big goal as to like, I want to well, I'm going to use a exercise one, but let's say you want to run a marathon. You don't run a marathon tomorrow when you've decided that you're going to run a marathon. So you're going to start with a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, and then go to a full. So when we're building our goals, we want to build them like that. Let's say I want to run a marathon. That's my big goal. But what do I need to do to get there first? I need to run a 5K. Okay, so how do I get to that 5K? That's my current goal, getting to the 5K. Then once I get to the 5K, I'm going to get to the 10K. So that's kind of how we want to build our nutrition goals too, is to not overwhelm yourself with, I want to eat healthier, kind of like Isabel said. But what are specific ways that you can start eating healthier that's just not overwhelming and you feel like you have to be perfect all the time? Um, So first of all, when you're starting to write your goals, these are some strategies that I want you, as someone who wants to make a goal, to consider. You want to answer these questions. Why do I want to work on this? Um, Going back to the weight thing, losing weight is a huge thing that people want to do. That's why I'm mentioning it. And I really like to challenge people when they say they want to lose weight because a lot of times it's cosmetic and again, I personally don't think that that is a good reason to want to lose weight in general because it is not sustainable in the long term. So why do I want to work on this? What are the health implications of this? What should I do to achieve this goal? What are the small steps in between that you can do to make sure that you achieve this goal? And what small milestone should I achieve to be closer to my goal? Kind of going back to that concept of you can't just decide to run a marathon today. You have to find those little small steps to reach that big goal. And then the last big thing to consider when you start writing your goals is you really want to think about some potential blockers that are going to happen. So let's say I decide that I'm going to start cooking home meals every single day. Now, there's going to be days where I'm going to come home late after school or work and not going to want to cook. And so I need to consider those things that are going to challenge my goals and ideal wants for this new lifestyle that I'm paving and find solutions for that. So, okay, I'm going to know already that I'm going to come home someday after work and school and not want to cook that home cooked meal. So, what is a way that I can find a solution for that? A good solution for that is to meal prep ahead of time so that you already have healthy home cooked meals in the fridge so that you don't have to cook at the end of a long day. So, before writing this goal, you have to think of your goal and also what could stop you from doing that, and then some solutions ahead of time. So this is how you're going to write a goal. There are a lot of different ways you can write a goal, but this is a way that we kind of like to write a goal because it helps you build and make it more in depth and also help you understand how you're going to achieve it. So that's what's called a SMART goal. First of all, you're going to be come up with something specific. So what is my goal? Okay, and then I'll have Isabel, she'll give an example after this. What is my goal? Measurable, how will I track my progress? So how will you track your progress? Is your goal something you can reasonably achieve? So is it something that is actually attainable and not kind of impossible to do with your current lifestyle? Is it relevant? So does it align your goal with your overall plan? And does your goal have a deadline? A lot of us, if we don't have a deadline for a goal or at least a time frame, like, okay, for the next 3 months, I'm going to start this, um, we're very likely to lose it and let go because we kind of had nothing to achieve with it. So even though we want to start a long-term sustainable goal, we still want a timeline to start off with to give you something to look to. Um,
Yeah.
So this is a goal tracker that we created. It is going to be, should have been sent to you in the email with this PowerPoint, and you can go ahead and print that out and work through this at your leisure during this or after. And this covers all the questions that I just went over. Take time to think of like what you want to set. It also comes with writing out your goals. You can write them out here and with some blank empty boxes, and then also you can set some monthly goals that helps with like the time frame part of it. Now, Isabel's going to go into an example of how you can set a SMART goal.
Thank you, Sabrina. So yeah, if you haven't already, download the PDF and print it. And this is a workshop, so you can pause the video as you need and write your goal as we go along the example that I will show you. So I want to walk you through a goal of what I want to achieve in 2025. So, for specific, I want to clearly define my goal. And so I want to eat more leafy greens like spinach, kale, and lettuce to improve my overall health. And the key question that I'm asking here is, what exactly do I want to achieve? So just write down like the goal or the idea that you want to improving your health, just write it down and try to be as specific as possible. And the next step is measurable. I'll decide how to track my progress. So with the goal, the example that I'm sharing, I will eat one serving of leafy greens. So 1 cup of raw or half a cup of cooked vegetables at least 5 days per week. So the question I'm asking here is, how will I measure success? And then for achievable, I want to make sure that the goal is realistic with my current lifestyle. So I will start by adding leafy greens to my lunch or dinner, such as a salad, or incorporating them into a soup or a stew, just something that I make throughout the week that I could add leafy greens to. And the question that I'm asking here is this goal something you can reasonably accomplish that works with your lifestyle? And then for relevant, then I ensure that the goal aligns with my larger health or nutrition objectives. So this example goes with this goal supports my plan to eat healthier and get more vitamins and fiber into my diet. And the question I'm asking here is, why is this goal important to me? And lastly, for time bound, this part is really important because if we don't set deadlines or um, guidelines around time, then we can easily lose track of our goals. And this helps us to stay on track and to actually meet the goal within a deadline or a time frame. So for this example, I wrote, I will follow this goal for the next month and then reassess to see if I can increase my serving. And here it's important to be like realistic. I definitely want to continue doing this throughout the whole year, but I want to take it, like Sabrina said, running a marathon, you have to take it step by step. So, starting for just a week, for 2 weeks, for 30 days is more manageable than saying, oh, I'm going to do this for the rest of the year. It's good to set smaller timelines and then reassess and see if you need to change your goal or how it's working for you. So the key question here is when will I achieve this goal? And then finally, you put all of these pieces together and you write out your SMART goal. So for the next 30 days, I will eat one serving of leafy greens at least 5 times per week by incorporating them into lunch or dinner to improve my overall health and meet my nutritional needs. Next, I want to talk a little bit about some unrealistic goals and kind of want to manage this. So, an unrealistic goal is an example would be I'll never eat dessert again. But something more realistic is saying, like, I'll limit desserts to weekends and enjoy them mindfully. Another example of an unrealistic goal is I'll cook every single meal from scratch. And we know that in our busy lifestyles, that's not possible. And so rephrasing that or rethinking that to something actually practical would be I'll batch cook or prep at least 3 dinners a week to reduce reliance on takeout, fast food. So making these more manageable will help us to actually achieve them. Another example is an unrealistic example is I'll eat salads for lunch every day. And we're humans, we don't like necessarily, most of us don't like necessarily like to do the exact same thing every day. When it comes to food, we like variety, we like flavor. So trying to change this to something that's realistic would be I'll include a salad with at least 2 meals per week, which you're meeting your goal and it's realistic and it helps you stay on top of that.
So here are some of the examples of what we think are realistic nutrition goals, or just nutrition goals that you can build on. First of all, is eating more balanced meal. That's a great place to start. Again, you don't have to be eating every single meal balanced. Choose a couple days a week to start with, or one meal a day to start with. That's a great way to start. Drinking more water, eating out less, meal prepping more foods. This is a huge one. I think a lot of us are more likely to reach for foods that are less nutritious if we don't have the nutritious foods already prepared in our fridge. So this is a big one. Eating breakfast, focus on nutrient-dense foods, eating more fruits and vegetables, reducing refined sugar and added sugar, and then also just making time to eat. That's so simple, but also can make a huge impact on your health. Just making sure you find a time of day where you can actually sit down and eat. So these are just some examples. You can get inspired and see if these are some things that you would want to work on in the next year and also just take on as part of your new lifestyle. So I'm going to talk about a few strategies for success. A big one is building a support system, mostly just, finding a couple of friends or maybe some family members and getting them on board onto whatever you're doing. I think, for example, if you have a spouse and say, like, here are some goals that I have for my health and what we're eating, and telling them how it's important to you and see if they can get on board with it. Because if you're doing this alone, you are not going to succeed. It'll be way easier to give up and not care about it if you don't have anyone else on board with you and also supporting you in this. Number two is tracking your progress and not focusing on perfection. So, like we said, it is really important to set a goal and also a time frame, but also realize that, being perfect is not going to happen. None of us are perfect. Isabel and I study nutrition, and I'm sure that we could pick apart our own diets and we have all the knowledge and also want in our life to eat healthy, yet we're never going to be perfect, and that's okay. And actually, being not perfect is part of actually very healthy diet. So just focus on tracking, some of your progress, but don't feel like you need to be perfect at the beginning or ever. With that comes being flexible and adaptable. Things are going to happen. Life happens. We also get in situations where we can't control like anything. And so just keeping an open mind about a goal is that it can be flexible. And I think also when you're building your goal, like kind of think to yourself, how can this be flexible? As in like eating perfectly 6 days a week or 7 days a week is not ideal. So 2 to 3 days a week, that makes it more flexible for you. And then the 2 day rule is like kind of an interesting way to also keep yourself on track. As in, like, if you do find yourself falling off whatever bandwagon or goal that you have set for yourself because of life or just because you forgot or because you didn't want to, allowing yourself no more than 2 days without doing your goal um, is a good way to keep on track because after that 2 day mark, you're more likely to be like, oh, well, it's been this long, it doesn't really matter anymore. But making sure that you don't go 2 days without, doing this repeated goal or like following this goal is a good way to stay on track. And then lastly, some common challenges and how to overcome them. The two big common challenges is time management and staying motivated. So time management is huge. We have busy lives and then also very unpredictable lives and things can happen. So things that can help with challenges is batch cooking. So making when you make a meal, make double the portion so that you have leftovers for when you might be in a rush or might not have time to cook. Meal planning is really important too. That takes away the component during the week when you're tired and having to think about what you're going to eat. If you've already planned what you're going to eat, and then also prepped with you what you already going to eat, so that kind of goes with prep ingredients ahead of time, like chopped your vegetables on the weekend, you're more likely to eat a home cooked meal in the evening. And then you can also utilize time saving tools, so like a rice cooker, or a pressure cooker, or an air fryer. These things make it easy for us to cook and not feel too overwhelmed and also not too many dishes. And so those are really great tools that you can use to still cook at home, but also not feel overwhelmed by it. And then the second one is staying motivated. I think a lot of us, especially when we have goals, have a hard time staying motivated. So, like I talked about before, building a support system helps. Tracking your progress, like I talked before, embracing flexibility, sticking to the 2 day rule, and reconnecting to your why, kind of like I talked about before. Why have I wanted to make this change in my life? And um, really fully going back to, oh, I'm making this change in my life because I want it for my long-term health, for my future, for my kids. So just remembering that when you're having a hard time staying motivated can help you stay on track.
Yeah.
So yeah, go with that as well.
Thank you guys for attending our workshop. If you haven't, make sure you download the PDF and just write out your own goals. And also remember to have grace on yourself because, like Sabrina said, we're not perfect. If you have any questions, please email us or you can message us on Instagram as well. Um, we wish you all the best in creating your goals for 2025, and thank you for watching.
Thank you.